I'm Manuel Hernandez and welcome to Norwich City Central.
Hello everybody, Lewis, Norwich City Central. I hope you're all doing really well. Firstly, thank you for all the support on the Liverpool content. Of course, I did the preview content and then afterwards had the match reaction, the match day experience and also the NCC show with Duka. So thank you for all the support. And yeah, Liverpool is just a special day, regardless of whether you was at Carrow Road or not. I think you can all agree that it was a brilliant day, and it was great to have the people of Norwich back at Carrow Road. Spine tingling atmosphere at the start. Okay, we lost the game, but it was just great to be back at Liverpool. You know, see people you haven't seen for 18 months, and yeah, it's just a really good day. And hopefully we'll continue to have more good days at Carrow Road, preferably with better results. So, but I'm sure as the season progresses and the players have more minutes under their belts after a disrupted pre-season, it will be much better for Norwich. Only Man City are next to come up, but I'm sure we can look at Leicester as a realistic and a really good chance to get a first win, maybe, who knows. But in this video, going to be moving away from all the preview and review content and go back to the transfer news. Still a couple of weeks left to go, and the transfer window this season has probably been one of the most fascinating and interesting from a Norwich City perspective. I think it's always interesting when you go up into the Premier League. The Championship, I mean, Stuart Webber's made some sensational bit of business, and even before Stuart Webber, we've done some really good bit of business in the Championship. But when you're a club of Norwich's size in the Premier League, I always think transfer windows in the Premier League are very interesting, and sometimes we get it right. Well, on very few occasions we get it right in the Premier League, and more often than not, because of finances and because of just personnel at the top, it doesn't really work out. But this has been a fascinating transfer window because last time in the Premier League, we made very few signings, and we decided to try and keep the squad together. This time around, we're trying to keep the squad together, of course, losing Buendia, but we've been making a lot of signings and really been showing, in my opinion, a intent and ambition, which has been really nice to see. And two players I want to talk about in this video is Brandon Williams and Gary Cahill. Now, Norwich looks set to sign Brandon Williams from Manchester United on a season-long loan. This has been pretty much confirmed by numerous journalists, including Michael Bailey, and when Paddy Davitt mentions as a no circus transfer, you know it's pretty much going to go through. So yeah, very strong chance. Very likely that Brandon Williams will be a Norwich City player on a one-year deal. The loan fee is £2 million now. It's really interesting with some loan fees, of course. Billy Gilmore, if he plays pretty much every minute for Norwich, then the loan fee is going to be free. But then we also have some loan fees where you have Ralph Them, and we spent £2.5 million on just to have him for 1 year sitting on the bench. And you know, you could argue that maybe that wasn't the best decision in terms of money. So £2 million for Brandon Williams on a loan deal for 1 year from Manchester United. Love to hear your thoughts on this one. It's a really interesting one for me. I think this is a brilliant move from a Norwich City perspective. Maybe not so much for Brandon Williams, and I'll say why, but from a Norwich perspective, it makes a lot of sense. We've got Max Aarons and Dimitri Giannoulis, who are absolutely fantastic. Brandon Williams, of course, is very well regarded at Manchester United, and he's going to push both of those players. Brandon Williams is a versatile, dynamic, modern-day fullback. Of course, Manchester United rate him very highly, but with Luke Shaw playing at left-back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, and then you've got Alex Telles and Diego Dalot. It'll be hard for him to get first team minutes. So he's someone who Manchester United want to loan out. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense from a Norwich City perspective. He's dynamic, he's youthful, and he's definitely going to push both Giannoulis and Max Aarons. So for me, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, a modern day fullback. So yeah, one which makes a lot of sense. Of course, we've got Bali Mumba, who is young still. And you know, if we do have a long-term injury to Max Aarons or Giannoulis, or dare I say Max Aarons leaves, then he's we need probably maybe someone who will provide better competition. I think Williams will do that. No suggestion that Max Aarons is going to leave. But yeah, a really good loan signing. Someone who improves us in both those fullback area, because it's a really good depth. And you know, with Sam Byron probably not going to be returning back from injury, I think it makes a lot of sense. So for me, I like the fullback one. It's not the main position I want to strengthen at the start of the window. I still think the number one priority was a centre-back and probably a defensive midfielder, which we're still waiting on. But yeah, from a fullback perspective, apart from maybe the loan fee of £2 million, I think it makes a lot of sense. His versatility and flexibility is probably really important because he can play both on the left and the right. But yeah, for Brandon Williams, course, he has aspirations for playing for Manchester United. And for me, if I'm Brandon Williams and if I'm Man United, I want him to be playing first team football in the Premier League every single game. And for Brandon Williams, I'm sorry, I can't see him beating Janulis or Max Aarons into the starting 11. So he might have to be patient, might have to wait, and unless there's a long-term injury, then he might not get much game time. So from that perspective, I don't think it's great for Brandon Williams. But maybe, we're in the dark here, and maybe it's the case that Max Aarons is very likely to leave behind the scenes, and Brandon Williams can just come in for that year and help improve us. So it's an interesting one from a Norwich City perspective. I like it. From a Manchester United and a Brandon Williams perspective, I'm not so sure on it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as I said, Norwich City, I think, really need to sign a centre back, really improve those options in there. We've got Omar and Zimmerman, who have. Omar Bamadeli's young, Zinnerman's maybe not at the standard of a third choice centre back, so you really need someone to push Gibson and Hanley and learn from the mistakes of 2 seasons ago. And Gary Cahill's been someone who's mentioned in that bracket, and there's been lots of talk about whether the Gary Cahill signing will come off. He's been very strongly linked. He's been linked with Norwich, Bournemouth and Rangers. And the latest on the Gary Cahill topic is that it's off. Norwich City will not be signing Gary Cahill despite some very strong links, and it looking, at one point like Gary Cahill's most likely option was Norwich. For me, on the Gary Cahill situation, I keep it brief. I spoke about it in the NCC show with Ducker towards the end, but Norwich City's transfer policy is signing kind of youngsters or players from unproven markets. And Gary Cahill, someone would definitely be the most oldest member in the squad at 34, 35. He's someone who doesn't fit into Norwich's transfer strategy. But for me, I think it made so much sense to sign Gary Cahill, and I think this is one that Norwich City could potentially regret. Firstly, he's going to help Omar Bamadeli learn. Gary Cahill spent 2 years at Crystal Palace. He was very, very good at Crystal Palace, a first-team player. The Crystal Palace fans loved him. Of course, before that, was still putting very consistent performances in for Chelsea. He's a proven winner, and I think sometimes you need that winning mentality. You need that Premier League experience. I think Gary Cahill would have pushed Hanley and Ben Gibson. And yeah, maybe the one thing stopping the deal was the wages. But if you look at someone like Ben Gibson, let's say an average player spends 5-6 years at a club. We spent £8 million on Ben Gibson. So we're essentially the club are paying £1.6 million per year for Ben Gibson over 5-6 years if he stays that long. Gary Cahill would only stay at the club for probably 2 years max. It's a free transfer, so you don't have to pay that £8 million outlay. Yes, his wages are going to be higher, but from that perspective, I think it would have made a lot of sense. But Norwich City is still looking for a centre-back and still looking for a defensive midfielder. We've got a lot of midfield options, but Billy Gilmour can be described, I guess, in a very similar way to N'Golo Kante. He is quite small, but for me, Billy Gilmour's probably best alongside a strong, powerful defensive midfielder, and Norwich City don't seem to have that. And although Billy Gilmour could do a really good job there, I think probably a lot of people think that Billy Gilmour's best position is not there, and Norwich could strengthen there. So fascinating to see what happens there. Brandon Williams, I think, is a really good loan signing from a Norwich City perspective in the short term. But Norwich City probably still need to sign a centre-back and a central defensive midfielder, and that is an absolute priority going into this transfer window, in my opinion. But I might be wrong. Who knows? This is just a fan talking. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on the transfer window and, of course, on Brandon Williams as he looks set to sign a season-long loan at Norwich. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.